The Blackmagic Pyxis is a camera that everyone was asking for, a riggable box style camera that we could use as a blank slate to build out your perfect camera. So in this video, I am going to show you a couple of my own Pyxis builds that I've been working with over the last few months, going from an absolute chunky boy Terminator build to more stripped back mobile lightweight builds. This is my super mega catch-all Terminator build. It is nicely stabilized with the additional weight, and using it with a easy rig is pretty easy. At the heart of it, we've got an XCLS cage. It is fantastic. It is super modular. It's got a ton of mounting points. It has more mounting points than any other cage I've used on a camera. It's got a ton of cold shoe mounts, which are super useful. It is modular as well, so on the back, if you're not using the Sony batteries, you can close that hatch up with an additional panel that will give you more mounting points and an additional cold shoe. It maintains the sensor marking as well, and it has this great little groove which allows you to slot your tape measure in. So if you're using something like the DJI Focus Pro, you can very quickly and easily measure the distance between your sensor and LiDAR system. In terms of monitoring image on this, I'm using a combination of things. So I'm using the Ursa EVF. It is fantastic. It connects with a single USB, which I think is the future. So it gets video and power over that single cable. It has some great hotkeys on it, so you can quickly do false color, you can customize function buttons, and zoom into your image, trigger record, all that sort of thing. I did find on stripped back builds where I'm just using the EVF that there were occasions where I just needed an external monitor to achieve certain shots. So if I had the camera low down or in a position where I can get my eye to the EVF, I need an external monitor. So for this build, I used an iFootage Magic Arm to connect a small 5-inch Portkeys monitor. It's not the best monitor, but it gets the job done. Because there's so much going on with this build, I opted for a 5-inch monitor just to keep the weight down to as small as possible. Ideally, I do like to shoot with a 7-inch monitor. To use the Ursa EVF, you also need the Ursa top handle. It's a really solid top handle. It feels great in the hand, and especially on a heavier build like this, it's very chunky and comfortable to use. In terms of power, I am using just a basic small rig V-mount power plate, and then that goes from DTAP into 2-pin LEMO into the back of the power port of the camera. Unfortunately, it doesn't convey battery information into the camera, which can be a little bit frustrating at times because you just got to remember to keep tabs using whatever battery you're using, and some batteries are better than others at giving you feedback on the battery capacity remaining. Another great thing about this cage is that it has a very interesting rod mounting system. So the rods, instead of slotting through holes to keep the cage small and compact, the rods actually connect directly to the cage and they screw in. So the rods have a little locking pin to stop them from rotating, and then you just drop a screw down the rod and just basically screw them to the camera. But what's great about that is that it means that you can fix those rods to the bottom or to the top of the camera, front or back. You also see we're using the DJI Focus Pro. It works great with this camera, and what I love about the DJI Focus Pro hand grip is that via Bluetooth you can use it to trigger record on the camera. So I've been using this basically just as a general grip on the camera. Whether I'm using the LiDAR system or not, the grip has pretty much stayed permanently attached to the camera. And then what's great about using the Ursa EVF and Ursa top handle is that you can basically piggyback off the rods on this to mount the LiDAR and the lens focus motor. So I have got a custom 3D printed cage for my LiDAR system, which just basically adds a rod mounting system to it. So it makes it super easy to integrate with this rig build. And then finally, for my audio solution, I've last year picked up the Deity Fios radio mic system. So I've just found it's really easy to mount these in between the battery and the back of the camera via cold shoe mounts. There's a few options about how you connect the audio to the camera. You can use a mini XLR, which is on the front of the camera, or you can go direct into the microphone port on the back of the camera. And I was actually skeptical about how good that would sound, but actually I've been really impressed by the quality of it. But I also have a Zoom F3 external audio recorder, and I tend to prefer using that. So I just mount that onto another cold shoe on the camera. Lenses, obviously, it changes from project to project. I have the L mount Pyxis, so I will adapt lenses to that from EF or PL. I also have a Mofage Poco PL to L adapter, which I love. And then my matte box solution is my trusty Bright Tangerine Misfit Atom. This is the more strict back rig, and one I would probably use more often if it was a solo shoot and it was a bit more run and gun and I used to keep it a little bit more lightweight and agile. Now, I've just got my Atomos Shinobi 7-inch monitor as my way of monitoring, and I found that you know, if I'm shooting interviews and it's on sticks high up, I can use the side screen on the camera, and then if I'm shooting handheld or on an easy rig or something like that, then this setup works really well. Again, audio and V-mount solution powering the whole camera, and then using the DJI Focus Pro grip to trigger record and just act as my sort of side grip. And then finally, this is my ultimate compact mobile walk around rig. So if I'm getting sample footage in the park or traveling and I just want to chuck the camera in a backpack and want a really streamlined solution, this is the one I go for. So this does away with the rods and the V-mount solution, and it goes back to using the Sony native batteries. And then we're using the EVF to monitor our image. Because that EVF is only powered via a single USB cable direct from camera, where it also gets its video feed, we've just got one cable attached to the camera, a small battery in the back, and then I tend to keep the DJI Focus Pro hand grip just to help stabilize the camera and trigger record. It is the ultimate compact on-the-go setup. So I hope that's given you some ideas and inspiration for the different types of rig builds for this camera. I super recommend checking out the XLCS camera cage system because it allows so much flexibility when it comes to rigging up your camera and achieving different rig builds. It does add a little bit of weight, so if you are concerned about that, then maybe look at one of the lighter weight options or looking at just running the Pyxis as it is. If you are on the market looking for a decent cage for the Pyxis, it's from a smaller company, they're based in the States. I would definitely check them out and check this cage out. I'll link as many of the items in the description down below as possible. These will be affiliate links, so if you do want to pick anything up, I'd really appreciate you using those links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it just gives me a little bit of commission, which helps cover my time making these videos. Plenty more Pyxis content coming up in the future. I'm going to be comparing it to my Komodo, some of my other cameras. And then I expect I'll also put out a big chunky review video in the next month or two. If there's anything else you'd like to see with the Pyxis whilst I've got it, drop me a comment down below and let me know. But that's it. I'm Ed, and until next time, I'll see you later.